What you just saw a moment ago was a viral movie clip that has been circulating on Facebook and YouTube. In this shocking scene, the parents are burning their own daughter alive. But why would they do such a terrifying thing? What's the real mystery behind it? Today's story is very interesting. So without wasting any more time, let's find out why the girl's own family set her on fire. At the very beginning of the movie, we see a man. He was returning home after finishing his work. But while walking, he suddenly felt as if someone was following him. Whenever he turned back to check, he couldn't see anyone. The man became very scared and started running through a dark alley. Right then he saw an old woman standing there. The woman slowly moved toward him, and in a horrifying moment, she stabbed him to death with a knife. Soon after, we learn that in the city, countless people are being murdered in strange and terrifying ways. The police and authorities were desperately trying to catch the killer, but no one had been able to track him down yet. Everyone believed that these murders were the work of a psychotic killer. Then the scene shifts to a family. In this family, there was a girl named Gauri. One night, Gauri suddenly wakes up from her sleep. She walks to the mirror and stares at her own reflection. After a while, she goes back to bed and falls asleep again. Next, the scene cuts to two police officers. They had just finished their duty and were heading home. On the way, they too began to feel as though someone was following them. When they stopped their bike and looked back, there was no one there. One of them said, "Let's wait here for a while," but the other insisted they leave immediately. After some time, they stopped at an empty spot, where they noticed a group of small children. When they called one of the kids closer, the child came near. That's when they noticed the kid was hiding something in his hand. The police officer asked, "What are you hiding in your hand?" Suddenly, the child struck the officer on the head, knocking him to the ground. When the second officer tried to help, someone attacked him from behind and killed him as well. And the scene cuts right there. Then we are shown another family, where the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law keep quarreling all day long, just like in those typical drama shows. And yes, this was the same family, the family of the girl who suddenly woke up in the middle of the night. Late at night, the family members began to hear a terrifying sound coming from somewhere in the house. They searched the entire place, but soon realized the sound was coming from inside a wardrobe. When Gauri's father finally opened the wardrobe, he was shocked to see his daughter sitting inside. Gauri was trembling with fear and crying, and she was standing there completely naked. Her whole family couldn't understand what had actually happened to her. The scene cuts there. After this, we see Gauri and her boyfriend. Gauri's boyfriend's name was Chandu. One day, Chandu took Gauri to a riverside. They spent some time together there. Then Chandu asked Gauri to step into the water. As soon as Gauri entered the water, she saw many hands moving inside it. Those hands were slowly reaching toward her. Seeing this, Gauri got extremely scared. But the surprising part was that Chandu couldn't see any of it. Gauri screamed and cried, but no sound came out of her mouth. A little later, we realized that this was nothing but Gauri's imagination. She often imagines such things and gets terrified. That night passes, and once again Gauri wakes up from her sleep. She goes to the mirror and starts behaving like a madwoman. Her family begins to understand that their daughter has some serious problem. The next day, Gauri's father takes her to a doctor. But the doctor keeps paying attention only to the nurse, ignoring whatever Gauri's father was saying. On the other hand, the nurses also tried to seduce the doctor in different ways. Later, when Gauri and her father were returning home from the hospital, a sage appeared and tried to scare Gauri. Right at that moment, Gauri saw everything around her moving upside down. People on the street were walking upside down. Witnessing this, Gauri got very frightened. Just then her father shook her hard, and we realized this too was only her imagination. The next day, Gauri was again taken to the hospital to see the doctor. While the nurse was giving her treatment, Gauri kept staring at her in a romantic way, as if a man was looking at a woman with deep desire. After the nurse left, the doctor came to give her an injection. But Gauri simply couldn't tolerate him. As the doctor tried to push the injection, Gauri held his hand and said, "I'm not your nurse, that you can do whatever you want with me." Saying this, she screamed and called for her father. She told her father that the doctor had tried to misbehave with her. Her father, in anger, started beating up the doctor and then immediately took his daughter back home. From that day on, Gauri's behavior changed completely. She began calling her mother by name and even ordered her to bring her coffee. Hearing this, her mother and grandmother got very worried. Just then Gauri's father entered. But right in front of him, Gauri started abusing her mother with foul language. Her father somehow managed to control her and bring her back from her imagination to reality. Once she returned to reality, she asked her father, "What did I do? Why are you all looking at me like that?" This meant that whatever was happening to her, She kept forgetting about it in the next moment. Later, Gauri's father shared the whole incident with his friend. His friend said, "I think your daughter's body has been possessed by some spirit." At that exact moment, Gauri entered the room and said to the man, "I can reveal everything about you. Every night you imagine me and play the guitar." Hearing this, the man got extremely scared. He couldn't understand how Gauri knew about this. In fact, Gauri had been secretly watching everything at the man's house. Hearing all this, Gauri's father became very tense. He repeatedly tried to stop Gauri, but she ignored him. When she even tried to raise her hand on her father, he again forced her out of her imagination back into reality. The next day, her father took her to a tantric priest. The tantric asked her, "What's your name?" Gauri answered with her own name. The tantric replied, "I wasn't asking you. I was talking to the spirit inside you. Now tell me, what is your name? And why have you entered this girl's body?" When Gauri remained silent, the tantric got angry and began to beat her. Seeing his daughter being beaten, her father tried to stop the tantric. The tantric kept trying to convince him, but Gauri's father wouldn't listen. Finally, he took his daughter away and brought her back home. After returning, the whole family fell into deep worry about Gauri. They all started crying because Gauri was their only daughter and they loved her dearly. They just couldn't figure out how to save her or from whom to seek help. On the other side, we see Gauri's father's friend. Terrified by what had happened, he boarded a bus to escape back to his village. While on the bus, he felt as if someone was calling him from behind. But every time he looked back, there was no one. This kept happening again and again, and he got terrified. He asked the driver to stop the bus, and when he turned around once more, he saw all the passengers staring at him with horrifying eyes. Suddenly, a little boy came to him and grabbed his neck tightly, choking him to death. And on the other hand, we see Rao sending his mother and son off to the village. He tells them, "When everything here is settled, I will bring you back home." Next we see Chandu watching a cricket match on TV. Suddenly the lights go out. Chandu looks around to find the problem, and at that very moment strange things begin to happen to him. He feels as if someone is calling his name. When he looks behind him, there is no one there. Then all of a sudden he notices someone covered with a cloth. When Chandu pulls the cloth away, there is nobody underneath. Terrified, Chandu tries to run away. But right in front of him, he sees the same cloth-covered figure sitting there. As he runs, he suddenly falls to the ground, and an iron rod pierces his throat, killing him on the spot. Meanwhile, Gauri's father lives in constant anxiety about his daughter and cannot concentrate at work. He brings her to a psychiatrist named Debu. Debu first hypnotizes Gauri and then asks, "Who are you?" At that very moment, the spirit inside Gauri speaks to Debu. It says, "My name is Babu." Babu tells Debu, "You are just a psychiatrist doctor. Get out of my way. And remember, you can't do anything to me." Hearing this, Debu feels somewhat afraid. After examining Gauri, he tells her father, "Don't worry. Your daughter has a disorder called DID, dissociative identity disorder. It will take some time to treat her. Wait for a few days. I will start her treatment." Meanwhile, we see that the nurse and the doctor from earlier have fallen into a romantic relationship. They both come to another hospital for some work. A little later, the doctor brings the nurse into a room, and they begin to do what you think they're doing. After they finish, when the girl goes to the washroom to freshen up, she suddenly hears a sound behind her and her reaction changes. At the same time, the doctor is looking for something. The girl then goes back to the doctor and tries to seduce him again. Each calls the other over, and then the girl stabs something into the doctor's back. As the camera shows both of them, we see that at the same time the doctor also stabs something into the girl's back. In other words, both of them end up killing each other, even though neither of them intended to. When Rao sees this news on TV, he is shocked. Hearing the news, Gauri steps outside and tells her father, "I had them kill each other through one another. And that's not all. There are many more stories. I am responsible for the murders happening in our town." Hearing this, her family becomes extremely frightened. When the scene shifts, we meet a police officer named Prakash who is investigating these murders. Prakash's wife constantly suspects him. She thinks her husband is having an affair with another woman. Their marriage is always troubled because of this suspicion. One day when Prakash leaves home for the station, he sees Gauri's father waiting there for him. Gauri's father tells Prakash that he can reveal who is committing the string of killings in the city. But Prakash thinks the man is insane and has him removed from the station. He does not believe the man's words. At that exact moment, Rao speaks things that leave Prakash completely stunned. Rao mentions details that the police have not released to the media. Prakash, shocked, goes with Rao to his house. When Prakash enters, he sees Gauri staring at him with a horrific gaze. Seeing Prakash, Gauri's voice changes completely. It becomes a fully masculine voice. In other words, the spirit inside Gauri is the one speaking to Prakash. The spirit says, "I have been waiting for you. Do you remember that rainy night? An incident 2 years ago. You and I were together then, and that very night you killed me. My name is Babu." Hearing this, Prakash is terrified and rushes out to the station. Gauri's family, meanwhile, understands nothing. After Prakash leaves, Babu reveals everything to Gauri's family. He tells them that the murders 2 years ago were committed by him. He is a psycho killer. He admits that he murdered many people 2 years ago, until one day that police officer killed him. Since then, he has lived on as a spirit. One of the biggest problems for a spirit is that it has no body. Bodiless spirits must exist in the air. Babu explains that he asked a demon for a body. The demon granted him a power. Now he could enter any body he desired. He was told that whichever body he liked, he could possess and continue doing whatever he wanted. One day he saw Gauri and fell in love with her. He entered her body. "I liked your daughter's body very much," Babu says. Rao then asks him, "Why did you choose my daughter?" Babu replies, "I like your daughter very much. The girl was very beautiful to look at. I quite enjoy inhabiting a girl's body. And do you know how difficult it is to possess a body? First you scare her. Then you confuse her. You show her dreams in many different ways. After her body becomes weak, only then is it possible to enter it. There are many spirits like me who can enter human bodies." Cut to a scene where we see Debu. Debu has a mother and she is very ill. She could die within a few days. Seeing his mother in that condition causes Debu great pain. While Debu is talking with his mother, Rao calls him and asks him to come to his house. Debu goes and is examining Gauri, when suddenly Gauri's voice speaking is actually Debu's mother's voice, meaning Babu is imitating his mother's voice. Just a little earlier, Debu had been telling his mother certain things on the phone, and now Babu repeats those things to Gauri. Debu becomes terrified and immediately runs out of the house. At that moment, the hospital calls Debu and he learns that his mother has just died. Meanwhile, Prakash goes to the commissioner to report what's happening with Gauri. He tells the commissioner that he knows about a girl inhabited by the spirit of a boy named Babu. That very same Babu is the one who, together with someone else, we killed 2 years ago. But the commissioner doesn't believe Prakash's story. He thinks something has happened to Prakash's mind, that he needs rest. So the commissioner tells Prakash to take a few days off and suggests he see a psychiatrist he knows. Prakash returns home, trembling with fear. Prakash's wife then asks him again about a certain girl. She asks, "Which girl are you involved with?" Prakash tries to placate his wife and explains about Gauri. He says he saw Babu inside Gauri. He also admits that he and another person killed that Babu 2 years ago. But his wife does not believe him. She becomes furious at her husband and repeatedly asks, "Who are you seeing?" Prakash becomes enraged too. In a fit of rage, he chokes his wife and kills her. At that moment, we realize the spirit of Babu has entered Prakash. Then Prakash shoots himself in the head with a gun, and he dies instantly. Cut to the commissioner, who has come to speak with Debu. Debu tells him everything about Prakash, and then the commissioner discovers that Prakash killed his own wife and then committed suicide. Hearing this, Debu brings the commissioner to Gauri's house. When the commissioner looks at Gauri, the Babu inside her speaks through a male voice and says, "I killed your officer, and I am responsible for all the murders happening in the town. What will you do now? You cannot harm me. How can you kill a spirit?" Hearing this, the commissioner is completely shaken and doesn't know what to do. They all go to the same tantric, the sorcerer we saw at the beginning of the movie, and tell him everything, seeking his help. The tantric gives them an idea. He says the spirit that inhabits Gauri will never come out of her. There is only one way to remove it. Gauri must be killed by you. Right then the tantric suddenly feels a severe pain. It appears to them as if someone is going to kill him. His whole body seems to float in the air. They are terrified. Then his body falls to the ground, and the tantric dies there. Seeing this, everyone runs away in fear. After that, everyone returns home together. Debu tells Rao, "You have only one path left. You must kill Gauri." Rao is shocked to hear this. At first he ignores what Debu says. But they reason that the death of one person will save countless lives, and they agree to do it. They make a plan together. Soon Rao takes his wife back home. He speaks with his daughter, and at that time Babu's spirit is already inside the girl. Meanwhile, Gauri's mother pours out an empty bucket and fills it with kerosene. Babu tells Rao, "If you can keep this secret between us, everything will be great. I will kill Debu and the commissioner, and I will also kill your child and mother who live in the village. Then the three of us will live happily together." While they are talking like this, from behind Gauri's mother pours the kerosene over the girl. Babu is stunned and unable to understand what is happening. Rao takes a lighter from his pocket and sets it alight. Then he throws the fire onto his daughter's body. Gauri screams and cries. Her family rushes out of the house and locks the door from the outside. From inside, Gauri cries to her father for help, pleading to save her. Hearing this, her father wails in distress and tries to get back into the house to save his daughter, but the doctor holds him tightly. The father shouts to Rao, "Have you forgotten? Your daughter can speak in any voice at any time." Still, Rao keeps crying for his daughter and keeps trying to save her. Before long, the girl weeping burns to death. Cut here. Afterwards, we see Debu writing an article. He writes that not a single doctor in the world believes in spirits or ghosts, but after witnessing the girl's death, he is convinced that something called ghosts truly exists. And with that, the story of the movie ends. So how did you like the video? Don't forget to tell me.